start recording. All right, so you do not need to write what I'm about to show on this paper, but I want to kind of show you how everything is more or less linking together that we have been learning these past couple of weeks. So we started off this entire conversation with the understanding of relation of data going together. And we decided then that relations are either functioning or not functioning. Remember, functionings, every input has one output. You scan that X column and you see if it only has one answer. So then functions, then you have to decide if they are linear or not linear. Is it a function that makes a straight line, or isn't it a function that makes a straight line? So what we're going to be focusing on the end of last week is then the differences of linear. And we started talking about proportional, whereas it starts at 0, 0, and every makes a straight line and all of that stuff. So proportional, again, if we're in graph mode, starts at 0, 0. Proportional, if we're in a table, simplifies y over x, so 1, 7, 2, 14, 3, 21. All right, and then in equation mode, it is y equals kx. Our focus today and the next couple of days are the other side of linear, which is non-proportional, okay? And again, I'm pointing all of this out because you have to understand math builds. You guys know that. If you miss a concept in 5th grade and in 6th grade it adds to it, and by the time you get to 8th grade, you're like, wait, what? So that's why I'm trying to really focus in on connecting the dots for you. So again, last week, proportional, y equals kx. This week, non-proportional, and looking at how these three formats change with what we're doing. All right, so is there anybody that needs more time getting their stuff? Are we good?
No.
No?
I'm good.
All right, who said no and go get your stuff? All right, so today we're going to be specifically focusing in on the identifying part of this again. The what do we see with our eyes and how can we decide if it's non? Please understand this is non-proportional. It is not the word not, okay? So when things are proportional or linear, it's either proportional or non-proportional, or it is not linear. So understand we're using non and not the word not, okay? So that is important to note. Not proportional means it doesn't make a straight line, right? So a couple of things to jot down. To be non-proportional, the data still has to make a straight line. However, this data does not go through 0, 0. When I input 0, I don't get 0. I get another number. A lot of times you're going to see the does not equal 0 symbol. All right, so if it says does not, this would be the not equal 0. You're going to see that often, which means I can be any other number as long as I'm not 0. That will make me non-proportional when I input 0. The other part of this then is non-proportional stories. When we get into story problems a little bit later this week, typically involve fees, additional costs, or something that's extra. You have already actually seen these stories when we were building equations, variable on both sides. This is where we had our Derek and Darlene, where we have to pay hourly, but we also have to pay for them just coming to the door. This was our city carpets versus country carpets, where we have to pay that installation fee. Those are all non-proportional because at 0 hours worked, we were still paying them money. All right, that's where non-proportional and proportional are different. Proportional means at 0 hours work, I make 0 money. At 0 apples collected, I make 0 baskets, or whatever the case may be, or pies. Okay.
This is also the activity that we did with Andy's versus Buddy's car rental, where we had to pay a fee just to rent the car. This is what we're talking about.
Okay. All right, I'm just going to slide this up slightly for those that are still writing. All right, similarly, when we learned proportional, we're going to focus on the 3 different formats that they can be giving me this information. So they can give it to me in table form, they can give it to me in equation form, or they can give it to me in graph form. So again, just like proportional, and I'm trying to kind of mirror the notes semi together. So that way you guys can kind of see the difference. And what we will be doing at the end of the week is doing a full comparison of the two. All right, in table format, a table might be, and I thought of this one late, so I'm sorry, but 0, 1, 2, 5, 4, 9, 5, 11. Now you might go, well, how do I know if this is non-proportional? And we're going to get to that. But notice when I input 0, I get a different number. Proportional would mean that this is also 0. So non-proportional means I have 0 for X, and I have a different number for Y other than 0. In equation format, we have a new format. Instead of y equals kx, we now have y equals mx plus b. All right, the difference here is this plus b. We have an extra, you're going to hear me call it a tail. It's that extra piece to our equation. So proportional would be y equals 2x. Non-proportional means that there is something tacked on to the end of it. All right, and if you do have a different color, I would encourage you to circle what I am circling, because those are those visual elements that you would see with it being non-proportional in that identifying part of this. All right, and then the last component with graphs, you're going to see that it does not cross through 0, 0. You're going to see it cross the y-axis somewhere other than that. It can be in the positive zone or the negative zone, as long as it's not going through 0, 0. So it goes through 0, 0, proportional. Anywhere else, non-proportional. Okay. And then I have just a quick little sentence to write alongside with this. To identify, we look at the special features of each format. And those are what we just highlighted and circled. Again, we're looking for 0 in our table. We're looking for the tail of our equation, and we're looking for not through 0, 0 in our graph. All right, so I'll give you a moment to write all of this down. If at any point you feel that I'm moving on too fast, or you're not exactly sure what I covered, or maybe you missed what I said when you were writing, please make sure you are speaking up for yourself. It's hard when all of your videos are off. I can't see your expressions. I can't see your confused, squishy face that I would see in the classroom. So again, I need you speaking up and advocating for yourself.
Can you scoot up to the top? I only got half of that one.
Is it this part here?
No, I got all that. I need
The tippy top?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me, that way those that are at the bottom can still see. So this is the first, do you have the title at least?
Yeah, I got everything else besides half of the top one.
Okay. All right, so there is, so I can fit it all there.
Thank you.
Let me know when you're done so then I can kind of zoom back in.
I'm done.
Okay. All right. And does anybody need more time then with this bottom part, or are we all good?
I need more time.
I do. I need more
Okay.
time.
All right. No, I thank you for speaking up. All right. I know it's a lot to write down and to listen to. Give me the go ahead when you are ready, and then I will go. So Rios, you know how you hate dolls?
Yes.
So I found a picture from when I was in 8th grade, because you know how we had to bring in pictures. I never hung this one up. So first off, I'm going to block the camera here, guys, and you're going to see me in 8th grade. I look like a boy because I love to wear my brother's clothes because I didn't accept myself. but check out the doll's eyes.
Ew.
Doesn't it look like it's looking up at me?
Yeah.
Needless to say, this doll got buried somewhere and we never found him again because it creeped us out so much, because this picture, it looks like he's looking at me. And this was taken with one of those disposable cameras, so you didn't see the picture until like well after the event.
What's the writing on its forehead?
It says Go Chargers. He was our mascot, and it said Go Blue, and then he's in his own little outfit. Yeah, we were weird. We like to put him in the freezer and stuff and freak people out. But yeah, that was in 2000. That was at our,
That was 20 years ago.
That was 20 years ago, and it still creeps me out. All right, everybody good writing?
Yeah.
Anybody need more time? All right.
Me.
Oh, who's me? Warner, was that you? It's actually funny, like trying to interpret voices.
Well, it's almost like they need to say, instead of saying me, they need to say,
Their name? Yeah. Lila needs more time. All right, so we are going to walk through the different formats, and I'm going to actually change the order because table is actually the hardest. While yes, you can spot that, we're going to also do a little bit of math. So we're going to start with the equations, go into graphs, and then move on. So those of you guys that are ready, you can choose to do another sheet of paper if you're almost full. If you want to write this top part at the bottom of your sheet, that's fine. I'm using a separate sheet of paper because I don't like when it's all crammed up. All right, whoever said me, are we good now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And did I guess correctly, Warner? Was it you? No, I guess I was wrong. All right, so we're going to start off with the title, Identifying in Equations. Again, this is the easiest one. We're looking for the tail. Okay, we're looking for the tail. So because I don't want you to forget the proportional part of it, we're going to look at equations in either proportional, non-proportional, or not linear, because I don't want you to forget what we've been learning. So we're going to write just a little blurby blurb to start, okay? The equation can be written in the format of y equals mx plus b. So understand, this is proportional. The m and k mean the same thing. I know in math they're all weirdos and they change things on you, but m and k represent constant and consistency and movement. It just changes the letter when it goes into non-proportional because I love to mess with your head. All right, so identifying in equations, the equation can be written in this format, y equals mx plus b. If b is 0, it's proportional. If b isn't 0, so it's 1, 2, 8, 24, negative 56, 254, 1,642, no matter what it is, it could be 0.000785, it's non-proportional. So b is a number, and it can also be negative, it is non-proportional. Okay, so that's kind of the fact. You see this tail, if you see this extra piece, non-proportional. If it's 0, it's not going to say 0. It's just not going to be there. It's just like in math, adding 0 really has no merit, so it doesn't exist in sequences. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to practice because practice makes perfect. Okay, so I have a sequence of equations, and I'm going to actually give you all 4 of them. We're going to do them together. I just want you to go ahead and write them down for me. So we have y equals 2x plus 6, y equals x, y equals 3x squared minus 4, and y equals negative 2x minus 8, and that's just a smudgy. Please don't write the smudgy. So I'm going to give you a moment if we can just write these. All right, so our options when we do this is going to be proportional, non-proportional, or not linear, because I either have to be proportional or non-proportional if I'm linear. All right, so let's take a look at each of these. So we have y equals 2x plus 6. Y equals 2x plus 6. Proportional, non-proportional, or not linear. So I'm going to call you out. All right, oops, wrong thing. I need my list. There's my list of friends. All right, I am going to pick random names. If you can unmute yourselves and tell me again, proportional, non-proportional, or not linear. All right, so Addison, which one do you think A is? Is this proportional, non-proportional, or is it not linear?
Proportional.
Okay, Danita, proportional, non-proportional, or not linear?
Proportional.
All right, Jameson, proportional, non-proportional, or not linear?
Non-proportional.
Okay, Jaden, proportional, non-proportional, or not linear?
Proportional.
Okay, and then finally, let's pick Noah. Proportional, non-proportional, or not linear?
Non-proportional.
Okay, all right, so we're kind of a split bag. All right, Well, we have two different formats, right? We have y equals kx that we've already learned. And we have y equals mx plus b that we just wrote up here. Given these two formats, which one lines up with what we have written? Which one lines up? So you can just unmute yourself and shout it out. Y equals mx plus b or y equals kx? Which format is this one?
Y equals mx plus b.
Okay, so does everybody see how those kind of line up? M is 2, x is x plus, and then b is 6, which means that this is non-proportional. And it's non-proportional because that tail of plus 6.
So this means that this equation, if you were to graph it, it would start at 6. So that 6 would be like that fee, that service charge to come out to your house. Maybe if you were bowling, the cost to rent the shoes, whatever that extra one-time fee would be, that's the 6.
Maybe you're building friendship bracelets and you go to Joann Fabric or Michael's or on Amazon and it costs you money. So maybe you charge somebody $2 per hour to make their something on top of $6 because it costs you to buy those materials. All right, so that plus 6 is that non-proportional, like Mrs. Rio said, that it doesn't start at 0, 0. If I plug 0 in, I get plus 6. So that means I am not proportional. All right, so that means I'm going to go to D then. So everybody look at D. Proportional, not proportional, or not linear. All right, so let's go through. Julian, is D proportional, non-proportional, or not linear? Oh, Julian. So again, Julian, proportional, not proportional, or not linear? Must have left me. All right, we're going to come back to you, Julian. Jasmine, proportional, non-proportional, or not linear?
Non-proportional.
Okay. Hernandez, proportional, not proportional, or not linear?
Not proportional.
All right. Gavin, proportional, non-proportional, or not linear?
Not proportional.
Okay. And Perez, proportional, non-proportional, or not linear?
Non-proportional.
All right. So it is correct and non-proportional because it lines up with my y equals mx plus b. Notice in this instance.
What would I circle in this one? So in A, Mrs. Cooley circled the plus 6. What would we circle for D that would make it not, that makes it non-proportional?
Good.
B.
So that plus b part of -8 makes this non-proportional. Okay. Now I will tell you C and B are not non-proportional. Can you tell me why and what they would be? So let's focus in on B. My first question is, why isn't it non-proportional? And because it's not non-proportional, what actually is it? And again, our options are proportional or not linear. So what would B actually be?
Proportional.
Okay, and Noah, why would it be proportional?
I don't even know.
Okay, it's a great guess. Can someone tell him, so he is absolutely right, that this is proportional. Oop, I can spell. But I want to know why, and there's actually two different answers that you can give me. What makes this proportional? And we just learned it. You just did a slide on it where you had to give me all of the constants. You just took a quiz on it. What makes this proportional?
Y equals x 0.
Okay, what did you just say, Jaden? You said y equals x.
0.
Okay, so I could have a plus 0 here, right? And didn't we say 0 is proportional? What's another reason why this is proportional? So that's absolutely right. There's another way you can look at this. Oops. I just kicked the microphone that was on the floor. Sorry. That made a loud noise. All right. What else? That just means I talk really loud if the microphone is on the ground and you could still hear me. Sorry. So what makes this proportional? So plus 0, or we could have defined it as there is no plus b. Well, didn't you give me the reason was y equals mx plus b? What could you give me as a reason here?
Y equals kx.
Absolutely. Doesn't this pair up with y equals kx? What number is in front of this x?
1.
Good. So doesn't it match the format y equals kx? So if there's no tail, it's proportional. If there is a tail, all right. Rios, is it still bad? Sorry. Let's try that again. Am I good now?
The farther when you sit back, it's harder to hear you. When you're closer, it's easier.
Okay, sorry. I got lazy. All right. So this is proportional because there's no b, or that b is plus 0, and it matches the format y equals kx. So now the question is C. Proportional, non-proportional, or not linear?
Not linear
And why is this not linear?
because of the 2.
Perfect. This is not linear. And if you remember back when we learned equations of linear versus not, one of the things that it cannot be is an exponent.
Exponent.
Good. All right, so that exponent makes that not linear. All right, questions, comments, concerns. All right, I have 2 problems for you right here. Okay, we are going to do a quick breakout room of literally like a minute because it should not take you that long. Let me actually.
It's going to take you longer to write them than it is to answer them.
Correct. Once you have it written, you're going to go ahead and go into your room. And I want you to tell me proportional, non-proportional, or not linear, and make sure you're able to tell me why. Okay, so y equals negative 2x minus 2, and y equals 4x. So this is non-proportional because of that negative 2. All right, let's take a look at this other one, y equals 4x. All right, Naishka, what did you get for this one? Y equals 4x, proportional, non-proportional, or not linear?
Proportional.
Good. All right, Perez, what did you get?
Proportional.
All right, Gavin, what did you guys get?
Proportional.
All right, and Isaiah Rosenau, what did you guys get? Okay, and this is in fact proportional. And again, reason-wise, this is plus 0, or you can say y equals kx. both reasonings and rationale would be perfect. Okay?
When we're trying to do this in equations, if you think back to when we did linear versus nonlinear, and it was you were circling something that made it not linear, it's kind of the same thing. If there's nothing to circle, it's probably proportional.
All right. Questions, comments, concerns there. All right. If you want to start another sheet of paper, obviously feel free. All right. We are identifying in graphing form. We are identifying in graphing form. Okay. All right, and so with graphing, with that plus b in that equation format, that line no longer goes through 0, 0. When I plug in 0, I'm going to get a different value for y. So it no longer goes through 0, 0. Non-proportional crosses the y-axis any place except 0. So again, we're looking for that visual element of where it's crossing the axis, as long as it's not 0. Okay, so that's what we are going to be looking at with these. Okay, so I'll let you go ahead and write this. Right, so same as we did with equations, we're going to be going through various examples. The graphs that you draw don't have to be perfect. You're just going to kind of draw a line similar to mine. We're not actually focusing in on the points themselves, more so just where the line is located. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't spend a huge amount of time trying to completely emulate what I'm doing. Just do your best. That's all I will ever ask for with it.
And remember, the most important part is where the line crosses the y-axis. So that up and down line, where does it cross at? That's the most important part. So if you're going to worry about anything in your graphs, it's that point there.
All right. Does anybody need more time writing? Go ahead and speak up if you do.
I do.
Okay. I don't know who I do is, but I'll give you more time. We got to start talking in third person. Cooley does. All right, those of you that are done, I'll at least give you these first two images that you can kind of draw. You're funny, Rios. You're funny. It's the same as in the classroom.
It's just harder to tell. Like, I feel like in the classroom, I don't have to ask if they need more time most of the time. It's like, you can see like, oh, Sally Sue isn't done. Johnny Joe's been done for 5 minutes.
Then make it to where we have to keep our cameras on.
Yeah, but even so, you writing and not writing, it's hard to see your expressions.
And I'll be honest, from everything that I've seen watching my own kids do their stuff, I think it's mean because it really kind of, I feel like it puts you on the spot unnecessarily. Like, what if you think the behind your house, the back of like where you are looks bad, or you just woke up and your hair looks crazy and you're stressed about it? I would rather you just take it than worry about what you look like.
Now, if you are more than welcome to have your camera on, don't, by all means, we love seeing your faces. However, like Ms. Rio said, we don't want any of you to ever feel embarrassed by how you look. I mean, I purposely come in the classroom on Zoom days, one, so I don't have my little people running around. If you've ever come to office hours, my 2 little people are always in the camera because they think it's awesome. But sometimes my house isn't cleaned. Mrs. Rios is advertising her microwave. All right. Jaden is masked so we can see his eyes, so we know who he is.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody need more time writing? All right. So when we do these, as Mrs. Rios was trying to describe, we're focusing in on the y-axis. All right. So I'm going to draw in my notes one of these coordinate planes. All right. And I want you to understand that the y-axis is the vertical line. So if you need to highlight or emphasize the vertical line, that is what we are looking at. We don't care where it crosses the x-axis. We only care about the vertical line and where it crosses on the y-axis. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at A and B. All right. What I like to do is I like to draw a dot on my y-axis. So I scan my y-axis. Here is where my line crosses. And then I ask myself, is this 0, 0? Is this spot 0, 0 where my dot is?
No.
No, it is not. And the moment I answer no, I then respond with, this is non-proportional. Now, if this was no and it was like a squiggly funky line, that's not linear. But in this case, all of them are going to be straight lines. All right. What questions do you have?
None.
All right. So let's take a look at B. Again, we scan our y-axis. When we get to our line that's intersecting, maybe we emphasize that dot. Is this at 0, 0?
No.
So no, it is not, which means that this has to be then
Non-proportional.
non-proportional. It is that straightforward. Now this would actually be my plus B number. So this might be what, positive 3. This might be a negative 3 or negative 4, depending on how the graph looks. So that B is where the spot is. Okay, what questions do you have with A or B? All right. Let's
Are we
then
able to slide down? Is that okay?
too bad. No, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and draw C and D then.
I don't like D.
I'm sorry. Is it because I don't know how to draw a straight enough line exactly where I want it?
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be going through
Yeah.
it?
See, that's why I said I don't like D.
I mean, we can have that but that's a good conversation that we can have though. You're going to see in the you do problems, like I overemphasized because I missed as well. Oh, well. All right. So again, C, we're focusing in on the axes, this vertical line. And we see that it crosses right there in the center. So because it crosses through the center, proportional, non-proportional, or not linear?
Proportional.
Good. Because remember, proportional goes through 0, 0.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Mrs. Rios is judging me, and that's okay. I like the conversation. I'm gonna zoom in to this one. So she kind of has this question mark happening of proportional or not proportional. And sometimes people are evil and they do this to you and you're like, wait, is that going through it? Isn't that going through it? And then you like squint at it and you're looking at it and you're like, I just don't know. 9 times out of 10, if I'm going to draw a line this close, it's going to be through 0, 0. It just means I missed. That's human error. If this is a computer generating it, yes, you want to question your life. Okay. So when we look at this and Mrs. Cooley is drawing anything, please don't overthink it. I'm going to make things blatantly obvious because I don't want you to give that squinty face. So for D, what would you say that this is then?
Proportional.
Good, because human error, we're going to say that that is going through the 0, 0. All right. What questions do you have for moi? All right, so I have 2 you-dos for you. We're going to refocus the camera as well. All right, please draw these 2. Once you have them drawn, you're going to head into your breakout rooms and you're going to say hi to your classmates. You're going to make sure, you know the difference. right, so again, go ahead and join. Make sure you check your answers with each other. Graphs do not have to be perfect.
They posted.
All right, let's take a look then.
You are super cute. I've
Huh?
never seen you before. Addison is super cute. I have never seen her before in real life. You're super cute. I love your hair, girl.
You guys make me giggle. I like it. All right, let's take a look at these answers. All right, you do the first one. Again, we are going to say that this one is
Proportional.
proportional. Again, it goes through 0, 0, so it's proportional. And the second one would then be,
Not proportional.
and make sure we're using non, not the word not, because it is technically proportional in a sense of it having a constant, but it is non-proportional in the sense of it's not going through 0, 0. All right. What questions do we have?
None.
None.
All right. So we have one last format that we have to go through, and that is identifying through tables. And I'm going to be honest with you. This is probably my least favorite of all of them, because you guys like to get nice and confused. Huh?
Mine too.
I know. So I save it for last in hopes that at some point it will feel a little bit better teaching it. And then it just really never, ever gets that better. So you're going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with it. And we just go with it. So identifying in tables. So this is the last part of our notes for those of you that are sitting there going, oh, is this done yet? All right. So let's go ahead and write in a table. If when when X is 0, and Y is another number. What did I write? Holy moly. I was listening to music when I wrote this. Apparently, I cannot write and listen to music at the same time. In a table, if X equals 0 and Y is any other number but 0, it is non-proportional. In a table, if X equals 0, and Y is any other number but 0, it is non-proportional. Okay? And so then we have the table that says X is 0, 1, 2, and Y is 2, 4, 7. Now, there's other details that we're going to visit here in a second, so there will be more that we have to check to this table in terms of checking for consistency. However, for what we're doing, we're just going to kind of spot that spot.
What's the answer?
Okay, the answer is circling 0, 2, and writing non-proportional. So again, if X is 0 and Y is anything but 0, it is non-proportional. Ta-da! Now it does get a little bit harder than that, and I'm going to do a quick visit to it and hope that your brain doesn't completely explode. And we're going to write, sometimes 0 isn't necessarily in the table. In that case, we need to check for a constant between each set of numbers. So we're going to do what's similar to proportional, except now we're going to do what's called rate of change, because we're finding out how do the numbers change from one data point to the next. That consistency, except because we don't start at 0, 0, they call it rate of change. They change up the verbiage because we're dealing with kind of a different instance. Okay, and I'm going to kind of just bring this up just a little and go ahead and write that table for me. All right. Does anybody need more time writing?
Yes.
Okay. I tried, Rios. I tried.
They're slow.
Uh,
My son is sitting near me in his Spanish class right now, and the guy is just chatting away in Spanish.
That's funny.
So if you hear someone talking in Spanish, it isn't Hayden, because he won't do it.
You changed the locations. Is that so you can keep track of them? No, you went from the
No,
kitchen to the desk.
which
Holden's done.
location? Because Hayden's laptop charger was behind my laptop,
Gotcha.
and his laptop was about to die, so I had to move.
Gotcha. All right. So I'm going to keep kind of going. If you need more time writing with this, feel free to write. But we need to kind of go through a checklist of what to do because these tables won't always have 0. If they do, circle it and you're done. Okay. Again, if it has 0 for X and you identify that Y, circle it, you're done. However, if 0 isn't in that list, we have to do, and I like to call them loop-Ds. We're looking for that consistency between the data set, okay? So the first thing that we're going to check is we're going to make sure that this isn't proportional. So we're going to give ourselves a little checklist. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to check for Y over X. We're going to double check that this isn't proportional. You don't have to write anything down. You don't have to do anything except for pick up a calculator and check your answer. So I'm going to pick up a calculator, maybe. There it is. Pink calculator. Got it. Check. All right. And I'm going to turn my calculator on. I'm going to clear it. And then for whatever reason, that amazing glare is on it. So we're going to go this direction. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to type in Y over X. And I'm going to do 8 divided by 4, and I get 2. And I'm going to do 14 divided by 6, and I do not get 2. So instantly, this cannot be proportional. So if it is not proportional, we now need to move on to step 2. And then we're going to check. Oop, I can spell check. The loop-Ds. And this is the change in Y over the change in X. All right. So what this means is I'm going to literally draw a loop from one number to the next. And I'm going to ask myself, how did this number change? It was 8. It's now 14. How much did it change? How did I get from 8 to 14?
94.
Plus 6.
6.
I added 6, right? And how did I get from 4 to 6?
2.
Okay. So change in Y over change in X. So I'm still doing Y over X, but I'm using my loop-D numbers. So in this case, this would be 6 over 2, which equals 3, because it's 6 divided by 2. I'm now going to go to my next set of data, and I'm going from 14 to 17. How much did it change?
3.
Plus 3. And I'm going from 6 to 7. How much did it change?
1.
Okay. So I'm doing the same thing. Change in Y over change in X.
And some of you might see that the numbers are different. You're going to say, oh, I have 6 over 2 and 3 over 1. And there's going to be some of you that don't want to do the math. And so you're going to say, that's not the same. It's what the numbers divide out to be. So 6 divided by 2 is the same as 3 divided by 1 because you still get 3. So you're still good for now.
Notice also how I'm changing colors. If you have multiple colors, I would encourage you to do the same so you can see kind of the differences of everything. All right, how do I get from 17 to 23?
6.
Good. And from 7 to 9?
2.
And notice again, that's the same as what's in red, but I'm still going to write it down because I want to double check myself. So notice now I have all the same consistency. I have all the same consistency. So because I had to do this through loop-d's, that makes this non-proportional. If y over x works, it's proportional. So step 1, you're checking for proportional. Step 2, you're checking for non-proportional. And if that didn't work, it would be not linear. So that's kind of that third thing. So y over x is proportional, loop-d's is non, and if neither of them work, it is not linear. Okay. Now I want you to honestly advocate for yourself. Do you want to do another one together, or do you want to do one that you do in the breakout rooms?
Breakout rooms.
Okay, I'm gonna actually give you 2 in the breakout rooms to make it worth your while. I will tell you one of them is proportional and one of them is not proportional. And you're gonna have to tell me which and why, all right? All right, so here are your 2 other tables to go ahead and write down. So we have 12, 14, 15, negative 38, negative 46, and negative 50. And then we have 10, 13, 15, negative 40, negative 52, and negative 60. All right, does anybody want me to mix up my stuff? All right, so the first thing that I should have done on A is I should have checked my y over x. So I should have taken negative 38 and divided it by 12, and I get that really long decimal. And I then take negative 46 and I divide it by 14, and I get a long decimal that is not the same. All right, so this is not proportional then. So now I have to move on to my looping. All right, from 2 to 14 is plus 2. All right, and negative 38 to negative 47. What did you guys get for this one? What did you get for this loop?
Eight.
6.
Okay, it is not quite 6. Someone said 8. Am I adding 8 or am I subtracting 8?
Adding.
So if I do negative 38 plus 8,
Or bigger.
so if I do negative 38 plus 8, I get negative 30.
So you're negative 38 and you're actually going in the hole 8 more. You're digging 8 more into the hole. So what should that actually be?
Minus.
Good. And a way to actually do this in my calculator when I'm not sure, I do this backwards. So I would do negative 46, and then I would subtract negative 38 from it. So I was at this, I'm now at that, that means negative 8 had to happen. Notice I have to put the parentheses around this negative so that it counts them both together. All right, so again, if I subtract the bottom from the top, it will get me my answer. Okay, so now I have to do my negative 8 divided by 2, which equals negative 4. So here I do my loop again. Here I was subtracting 6. Did I subtract 6? Just kidding. I subtracted 4. I can do math also. All right, and then 14 to 15 is just plus 1. I'm sorry, I didn't change my colors for those of you guys that like the color change. Let me do that again for you. So this would be negative 4 over 1, which equals negative 4. And notice I have the same number. So this would be non-proportional, and this would be my constant. Okay. What questions do you have here? For those of you guys that got it wrong, was it because of this negative 8?
Yep.
We get a positive 4 instead?
Actually, what really happened, let me tell you what happened. I'll tell you. This is just my insight. You told them that one was proportional and one was non-proportional.
Okay.
as soon as they did their y over x and didn't get the same number, they wrote non-proportional.
That is true. But you know what? That's actually a really smart idea. I will at least give them semi-credit for that one. All right, so here we would have done negative 40 over 10, which would have been negative 4, and we would have actually gotten negative 4 all the way through if I picked up my calculator, and therefore this one would have been proportional with negative 4 being the constant. Okay, so it would have been negative 40 over 10, negative 52 over 13, negative 60 over 15, all making the negative 4. Boo, boo, boo.